the obviously authentic channel. My name's Leah, and that's spelled Lea and not Leah. So if this is your first time stopping by the channel, what's up? Thanks for stopping by. And if you're returning to the channel, what's up again? And thanks for stopping by, Thank you. I appreciate it. Truly, I do. So we're going to be talking about Married to Medicine. This episode was really like a filler, and if you see me looking down, it's my handy dandy notes. It wasn't anything spectacular. I did enjoy the episode, but yeah, it wasn't that much. So I say we could get Dr. Jackie and Dr. Heavenly out the way. It wasn't much with Jackie other than like she met up with Dr. Heavenly, and I was glad she said it, but it did it made me feel like, oh my God, Heavenly trying to take Simone's spot, even though I don't think she is, but that's what it gave. And I was glad Dr. Jackie was like, oh my God, you're my new like lunch buddy. Like this is giving me like vibes and Simone vibes. So Heavenly pushes Dr. Jackie to FaceTime Dr. Simone, which I was like, girl, that's awkward. You could have texted her or called her. I don't like FaceTimes unless we both agree to do a FaceTime, because it's an awkward thing if you don't want to FaceTime with somebody. So I was just like, Dr. Jackie. But I was glad Simone was like, yeah, we can meet up, but I don't want you to think that like we're going to be friends at the end of this. Because I still think they're friends, but their friendship is like, if we were going to gauge, like say this was on levels and like level 100 was their friendship 20 years ago, they like on level like 5 right now. So, but I was glad that Simone was honest and was like, I don't want to give you false hope that there's like, we're going to work this out, and we don't. So, they agreed to meet up. The one thing I didn't like was Dr. Heavenly was like instigating, and I was like, Dr. Heavenly, shut up. Like sometimes, like I said, Dr. Heavenly is good comic relief, and sometimes the things that she says is like poignant, like it's true, but oftentimes I just feel like she just be running her mouth just to run her mouth, and it doesn't add or aid the conversation. So I'm just be like, lady, STFU sometimes, Heavenly. Oh, we did get to see Dr. Heavenly's oldest son, Damien Jr., and I guess he's decided to go into dentistry as well. We also got to see an update of Miracle, the young lady who got her teeth punched out by the police officer. I was glad to see like she was in good spirits. She was still talking about protesting in Chicago, and then Dr. Heavenly was trying to match her son with, and he wasn't feeling it. But I was glad that he's taking an interest in dentistry. I think that's cool. Like he wants to follow his mom's footsteps or just learn the trade, because I do think dentistry is profitable. We see Dr. Heavenly and Dr. Damon's house. Their house is beautiful, and we ain't never heard of Dr. Heavenly having financial issues. So something is working here. So let's go to Anila. We saw my homie, Dr. Kieran, and y'all, he had me weak. He had like, Anila doing too much. Anila, y'all, their house was only supposed to be $1.7 million. Anila has moved the budget to $3 million. And I'm with her husband. Like, he even said, like, he has anxiety because of the pandemic. He wasn't working for 10 weeks. So 10 weeks is like more than 2 months. So I was like, that's 2 months worth of paychecks. And because he is a plastic surgeon, plastic surgery is relatively elective unless it's like reconstruction and you want to get it, which is still elective. But most people want reconstructive surgery like when they get their breasts removed or they mess up their noses or something like that. So it's like it's voluntarily. So he was like, now people are starting to come around since the pandemic and things have gone down. But like, she doing too much. Like no house should be that, like y'all's budget was $1 million. He is not like a celebrity. I know Beyonce's house costs more than everybody's house. But I'm with him like he's anxious. And you got to remember, like, he got to pay for all of this. And like he said, I was happy he told her, like, girl, you morphed into your mama. And she really did, because she was nitpicking like everything. And I was like, you were just complaining about your mama doing it. Why are you doing it? And you can obviously tell, like, your husband don't really see it for your mama. So I was like, you might want to tone that down, sis. And I got what she was saying when she was like, oh, I want this to be our house for 10 years. That house is big enough for 10 years. It truly is. I think it's like, it seems like it's 3 levels. So it's a pretty big house and it's only 4 people living in it. And like, I'm thinking about my family home, like that my parents stay in, and their house is 3 levels. And it's me, my sister, my mom, and my dad. And that's enough house for everybody. Granted, when all my family comes around, it's not enough as it needs to be. But it's enough. It's truly enough. Y'all feeling it? I am feeling my yellowness. I feel like Shigo, y'all. Off of Kim Possible. I'm feeling very Shigo-esque. And I got on my avatar, my cabbage. I'm sorry, y'all. I just had a moment. My bad. Yeah, so he just getting tired of her. And she doing too much. And like, I was with him when he was like, the lighting budget don't need to be that much. Like, there's some things that they can scrap on. Unless she's using her blogger money to like pay for certain things, I get it. Like, if she's using her money to pay for, like, yes, I want these lights and it's her money, yes. But I think like as a family, they should still like have a set budget and you should follow it. Unless you really want to use the money that you're making off of your Instagram checks and things of that nature. So then let's get to Toya. Toya, okay, I know everybody gets annoyed with Toya, and I totally understand it. Toya can be insufferable and aggy AF. But I do like the relationship she has with Eugene because it genuinely seems like they love each other. Same with, like, I'm happy for Cecil and Simone, like Dr. Cecil and Simone, not Dr. Cecil, Dr. Simone and Cecil. Like, I felt so bad when they were going through their marital problems, but it seems like they got back on track and they seem happy. Even though I don't like Curtis for what he did to Dr. Jackie, they seem to work out their issues. It's like the only couples that having issues is Scott and Contessa, and we'll get to them later. And I know some of y'all gonna be mad because I'm not on Contessa's side, and it's not because I don't see it for that lady. There's things that have happened that has made me see Scott's side, but we'll get there. But I thought it was cute. We saw Lisa Nicole Cloud, which I was like, yo, and Carrie, which is a blast from the past. And then Lisa brung up the fight that Mariah and Toya had. That was a good fight. Although fighting is wrong, y'all. We should not be fighting at our big ages when you 30 and something. But like, they was with it, and I was with it with them. But it was nice to see Carrie. I know some people, I saw some of your reviewers saying that they weren't happy that Carrie or Lisa was back. But I'm kind of okay with seeing them back. Unless they do something to annoy me. Right now, I'm cool with them being back. It doesn't bother me. It seemed nice. They was having a good time in the pool. Simone lost her wig. She was like, because she too drunk. But like, no, like the vibe was nice. And that food that Dr. Eugene was cooking looked good too. Like, I don't even like oysters, but I don't like raw oysters. I like fried oysters. And that pizza he made looked good. And so did them oysters. Like, he did it up. He did it all the way up. I also like the fact that we saw Dr. Eugene taking his steroids. So I guess he has, I didn't know this, but men can go into what is called andropause. And I was happy Toya said, why is ours called menopause? And like, why is men in it? But I don't think I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't know if menopause has meta. I think it's MAT, not MA. I don't know. That's not the point. But Toya was giving Eugene his steroid shot because I guess he normally does it in his thigh. And he wanted to give his thigh a rest, so he was putting it in his his legs a rest, so he was putting it in his thigh, like the gluteal area, and well, gluteal means butt, but sometimes this is also like a gluteal area as well when you look at muscles. But I thought it was cute that like she's afraid of needles and she was trying to do it and she did it. And like, I was happy for them. Like, I like seeing couples when they're happy. Yes, we want to see the drama and we want to see the ups and downs, but people do want to see people happy. Like, I don't think anybody wants to constantly watch people going through turmoil and distress in their relationships. At least I know I don't. I want to see happy moments, but I also know that relationships are not perfect. So there is always going to be drama because it's two people in a relationship. Scott and Contessa, we talked about other marriages. So y'all know I don't see it for Contessa. But I got what she was saying and I got what Scott was saying. My only issue with Contessa is Contessa to me always wants Scott to sacrifice, and Contessa doesn't sacrifice, in my opinion. She just expects him to constantly give to her, and it don't seem that way. In my opinion, it don't seem like she does the same for him. Maybe that's just something we haven't seen, but to me, we don't see it. Like, she's talking to Scott's niece about their issues, and she was saying how, like, they haven't grown in their relationship. I think that she said 20 years their relationship has been the same. But I also, on the side note, their youngest child got too much energy. Like, she's a sweet kid, but like, she would get on my nerves after a while, because I'd be like, girl, you need to pop a Valium. Like, you got to chill. But she was talking to Scott's niece, who's like kind of like their live-in nanny, her and her wife. And it was interesting, but like, I don't know. I just feel like Contessa complains so much, and I feel like she's always pushing the blame on Scott. And then we see Scott at the office with Damon and Dr. Damon and Dr. Eugene. And like, we end up finding out that Dr. Damon and Dr. Heavenly went to counseling, but I guess the counseling wasn't a good match for them two. I didn't like in the confessional, Dr. Heavenly kept cutting Dr. Damon off, and I was like, girl, let him talk. Because she was trying to say, and I get what she's saying, some doctors are not good patients because they are doctors. And Dr. Damon was like, no, it wasn't that I thought I knew more than him. It's just that, like, I didn't feel a connection there. And I think when you go to therapy, you have to have some type of, like, trust with your therapist in order for it to work. If there's no trust, then you're not going to divulge, like, information that needs to be divulged in order for you to reach a consensus. Well, I don't even know if the word's consensus is what I'm looking for. In order to reach an impasse where you go past whatever relationships and come to a resolve, basically. But I like what Dr. Damon said when he was like, we got to let our women be themselves. Like, we married, like, and Scott even said, we married superwomen. She always just going. And Dr. Damon was like, we got to let them be themselves. And he was like, I let Heavenly be her. And I was like, I think that's true. Like, when you're in a relationship, you should love that person for themselves, and you should let them be themselves if it's not something that's detrimental to your relationship or detrimental to themselves. But I did note that in the confessional, he didn't want to, like, it doesn't seem like Scott wanted to start a business. Contessa did. And Scott was like, I wanted a boat. And she was like, well, I didn't. And I'm like, girl, he could have got his boat. To me, they don't need to be working together when they don't even have, like, they don't have their stuff together. And I don't want to say they should get a divorce, but I feel like if they got a divorce, they would be so much happier. Like, I feel like Scott could find him a wife or a girlfriend that is like even with him, and Contessa could find the same. Like, I don't, a lot, there's a rumor mill that everybody think Contessa might be like to dip in the lady pond, and if she do, that's okay. But I'm saying I want them to find, like, if Contessa needs to find a woman to be with and be happy, or another husband to be with and be happy, I think that's okay. And I think that would be better, especially for their kids. But I don't know, because they just always seem like they're at odds or butting heads. But it also feels like it's two people that don't want to compromise. And I feel like Contessa feels like she's compromised so much. And in my opinion, she really hasn't. You still were able to become a doctor. Granted, you wanted to continue being in the military, which you can. I'm a military kid. I've been a military kid my mom's in the military. And I'm like, she's been in the military all my life, my whole entire life. And I'm like, you could have still been in the military. You would just have to sacrifice certain things. And if Scott didn't want that, then, like, you should have let him go, or he should have let you go. I feel like Contessa made a sacrifice that she really didn't want. And she can only blame herself for making that sacrifice. Because I don't think, Scott could have pushed her, but ultimately, as strong-willed as Contessa is, I feel like she could have been like, bruh, I'm out. And I feel like maybe she wanted to have a family, and she maybe felt like her time was running out or whatever. I just don't know. I just feel like if they gonna stay together, they need to be in constant therapy until they resolve their issues. If they not gonna go to therapy, then they need to, like, deuce out. And then we have Simone and Cecil. So Michael's going to college. It was funny because they were all driving. Simone was teary-eyed. I thought it was sweet that they said, like Cecil said, Michael makes living in the house with him special. I want Miles to get his act together, because I feel like Miles has so much potential, but he squandered it. I mean, he's still fairly young, so I'm hoping that, like, you know, he gets back on the good foot and finds something that makes him happy. And if it's not school, okay, but hopefully he finds something that really works for him. But, you know, they dropped him off. I was like, ooh, I don't miss dorm life with them. Why? I don't know why. Like, my first dorm had brick walls, which I was just like, y'all couldn't put no, this. We couldn't get this. We got, like, y'all legit, like, exposed brick. And I was like, who thought of this? But then again, I think my dorm was made back in, like, the 80s or the 70s. And they just, like, revamped it. But, like, I do not miss that. Low-key, I did have good roommates. Like, I did have good roommates. Like, my first roommate was from Chicago my freshman year. And then my second sophomore year, my roommate was from North Carolina, because I went to school in North Carolina. But she was in band, so she was never there. So, like, I had that room to myself, and my room was bigger. But yeah, it was a nice episode. Like I said, it was a filler, but I think it was straight for what it was. So yeah, y'all, that's it. That's all. Be bravely authentic. And again, I hope when you see this, you having a good day.